Hello, hello, hello. And hopefully you guys can see and hear me. Let's tilt this up a little bit. Here we go. And hopefully this is not too loud here. So first of all, welcome. Welcome if you are catching me live, especially if this is the first time that we're meeting. A quick little intro here of what we're kind of going to be doing today. Basically, we will do a few minutes of grounding. And I thought that it would be a really nice time for us to kind of chat a little bit. We'll pull some tarot cards and some oracle cards. I wanted to pull some tarot and oracle cards for you guys for the collective. And then if you would like me to pull some individual cards, please just drop your name in the chat so that I know that you are, first of all, you're here. And second, that you would like me to do a quick little reading for you. I do have a couple of messages for you guys as a collective, sort of what's happening, what's going on energetically, and kind of just prep you as we're like moving into the next week. And I thought that it would be a really nice way to kind of do that on a Sunday. Let me just adjust my microphone. Hopefully it doesn't disconnect. First of all, if you're catching me live, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here and chatting with me. My name is Meshi. If this is the first time that we are meeting, and obviously we're chatting here on Aligned Soul, and the whole idea is that we kind of come together, we connect, and we align energetically. And the reason why I started doing just a live practices before we actually dive into the oracle and the tarot readings is because I want you guys to not only be receptive to whatever's coming in, but for you to actually get grounded a little bit so that whatever you were doing up to this point, you can kind of release that. And then you're actually in that space right now, in that present moment where you're opening up the channels and I'm opening up the channel so that whatever messages kind of come through, you can actually be able to, it can land. So that's like the whole idea is sort of like when you're prepping your space for, people coming over, right? It's the same sort of idea. So let's talk a little bit about where we are today. So where we are today right now, we're in this really weird, I don't know if you guys are picking this up, but we're in this really weird limbo space where sort of like you want to kind of go at a certain pace, but you can't because, well, for us, we just switched the clocks. And if you're in North America, you likely switched your clocks as well. And that signals a couple of things. On one hand, it signals that there's this change coming. And on the other hand, it signals that not only are we inviting more light, isn't that interesting? So we're inviting more light in, but then at the same time, we're also asked to sort of manage our own energy centers, our own sort of like what I'm kind of getting is just really recalibrate your own energy center so that you're open to whatever March is bringing you and just kind of prep your body energetically for the most part for the changes, but also for the new season. So things are going to become a lot lighter. And also, it's sort of like you need to slow down in order for you to speed up. That's sort of what kind of came through. And I'm going to kind of touch on like what I saw within my meditation, but I actually, before I even do that, I wanted to kind of just get grounded and sort of arrive where we are right now. I'm going to be using some sound, which I totally forgot to do last time that we were here. So I'm going to be using my little Tibetan bowl, which I'm very excited about. And I'm also going to use, and you will probably pick up the sounds here. I also have this really beautiful wind chime, but this one is in particular is for the solar plexus. So I bought two. One is for the solar plexus, the other one is for a crown chakra. And the reason why I chose the solar plexus is because I really wanted you guys to kind of get connected to your own intuition and your own gut feelings, because I think that we get feedback all the time of like what feels in alignment, what doesn't feel, like what feels right, what kind of looks fishy. And the thing is that until you can, sometimes we get really disconnected from that space and from that energy center because there's so much noise, there's so much that gets thrown at us energetically anyway, where we have to kind of digest it. And then we have to digest this other thing too before we can kind of move on to like tuning in to really see and feel energetically what feels true and what feels right for us. So I thought that we would kind of start with sound and then we can move into pulling some cards, give you guys some collective messages. I think I'm going to check in with a friend of mine because I'm pretty sure that she also wanted me to. I know she wants me to pull a card for her, but I'm just gonna let her know. Actually, why don't I just share this? I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that I can actually share this link somewhere. Clearly, I'm not. I'm super new to doing lives on. Oh, very cool. It does allow me to actually just take this. Very cool. You learn something new literally every single day, or at least I try to. Hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend. If you are tuning in, here we go. So, what I would like you guys to do, if you're watching the replay, find a comfortable seat. It's only going to be a few minute practice, but just find a comfortable seat wherever you are and make sure that your spine is relatively straight and you're not hunched over too much. Let's do a quick little check in with the body. So, your chin, kind of gently tuck it in. Your tongue can rest at the roof of your mouth. Get a little softer in the jaw and in the throat. Just soften this whole area up. And place your hands face down on your thighs as you're seated comfortably. And your gaze can be right in front of you. And when you're ready and you feel safe to do so, just gently close your eyes. We're going to begin with a few cleansing breaths through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Let's do that one more time. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. And allow your body to become softer. You can rest your tongue on the roof of the mouth. And as you allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm, take a moment to tune into the quality of your breath. It's so rare that we have the opportunity to just be in this present moment and just witness the rising and falling sensation of our breath. You can quickly check in with the body, do a quick little scan from the bottom of the feet all the way down to the top of the head. See how your body's feeling today. Perhaps it's holding tension at a particular area. Again, just make note of it. No need to make any adjustments right now. We're just simply here in the present moment, witnessing what is arising. And just know that if there's no sensation at all, that's also feedback as well. And as you watch the rise and falling sensation of your belly, or perhaps you feel it by your chest, or perhaps in your nostrils as the air flows in and out of your nostrils. Wherever you feel it more prominently, see if you can follow it, but know that it's perfectly normal to have thoughts come and go. And while it's part of the meditative state, it's not our primary focus for today. And as you follow your breath, see if you can follow the sound. See if any emotions arise. And see your thoughts like the wind floating. Sometimes they pick up speed. Sometimes it's just a breeze. Tune into where you feel this arise in your body. And as you follow your breath and you allow your thoughts to come and go like a gentle breeze, know that with each breath, you have the ability to release it at any moment. And when you're ready, gently bring your awareness back into the body, into the physical sensations, and see if you can follow the sound to its completion. And when you're ready, gently float your eyes open. Look at a neutral space in front of you. And when you're ready, come back into the room. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Miss Tenacious Soul. How are you? Thank you for joining me live. So now that we're nice and grounded and we're really rooted into, we aligned the sound with the body and we tuned kind of in. I thought now you're primed to actually chat about what is really coming up for next week. I'm so glad to hear that you're doing great. I know you've been crushing it all day, so hopefully a little bit of sound actually helped you get a little bit of calibration going on. We were working with the wind chime that actually works with your solar plexus. And I really felt called to work with that today because I just felt like right now we're in this really interesting space where we really want to use our own discernment and really get recalibrated on figuring out what is true for us. So rather than just allowing all of this information to come in to ask what is true for us, I thought that sometimes the best way to do that really is just to kind of tune back into the body, allow it to really reset those energy centers so that we can kind of see and become a little bit more clear of what is true for us, which is interesting because I feel like, and I mentioned this at the very beginning today, I very much feel like where we are energetically right now and where we're moving into, and I think that you guys will feel this even more so moving into the next week, we're really gaining light. And I mean, today is such, today kind of like brings it all together because we have switched our clocks for the arrival of spring, for more, and really like today is the day when we're inviting more light in. So when we're inviting more light in, I think that most of us think of it like it's such a wonderful thing, but I think that most of us don't think of sort of like the side effects of that, because what happens is, especially if you've been in darkness and you've been in hibernation for so long, when you invite too much light in all at once, and even if that's just an extra hour, I think that that can not only, it can be really abrupt sometimes, and the reason why it can be abrupt is not because it's not healing for us, but it's because we need to readjust our body, we need to readjust our energy centers, so that we need to readjust our eyes, our muscles, like all of those things, they really need some time to actually get caught up with that. So I thought that we would actually just do a little bit of a card pull for you guys as a collective first, and then individually, if you guys want me to pull a card for you, by all means, please let me know, because I would love to kind of give you any messages that kind of came through. And of course, every single time that I get a chance to play with some of my sound bowls and some sound healing is always wonderful. A quick little side note, after any type of meditation, please use some water. Take care of your body. Make sure that you're hydrated. So, this idea of using your discernment has come through so clearly all day of tune back into you, find your own truth, and find really what resonates for you first before you go out into the world to really allow all of these different things to kind of tell you what should be true for you. So that's one of the things that as the week goes on, we're going to be gaining even more light, especially when it comes to our intuition. You guys will be feeling that more and more and more as we're moving closer to the full moon. Hi, can you give me a few minutes? So moving on with that, I basically the two main things that have come through is to recalibrate your own energies and really allow the moon, allow the full moon to not only highlight what is working for you, what is really in alignment for you, because it's going to become really, really obvious for this week, but what needs to be released. And what I mean by that is it's not, sometimes it's just simply the allowance. So sometimes it's literally just you surrendering. Other times it could be literally something that you literally physically need to release. So maybe some of you will be doing a little bit of spring cleaning. So sometimes it's a physical release, sometimes it's an energetic release. So you're going to have to kind of figure out what needs to be let go of. Okay, let's take a look at collectively what you guys need to know as a collective. And if you are joining me live, drop your name in the chat, and I'm happy to pull a card for you of what you need to know moving into this week, the week of March 14th. Let's see. So fun. You've got the love. Isn't that funny? So I feel like this is both personal and a collective. It's all about setting boundaries. So when you're moving closer and closer to the full moon, by the way, it's going to be full moon, I believe, in Virgo. Where do you need to set boundaries? Where are you too open? Where are you too vulnerable? Are you leaving yourself more vulnerable for vultures, for energetic vampires? They're everywhere. Are you setting up your space energetically to offset that? Are you? I don't know. So that will be basically the best way that you can kind of tell. And I mean, I've had tenacious soul. I had this conversation with you actually the other day when we were talking about setting energetic boundaries more specifically, because it is so important. But also, you can tell if something is in alignment or not just simply by how do you feel after a certain activity? Do you feel energized or do you feel drained, like, oh good god, I have to do this thing again? Because that will be your surefire sign of what is in alignment for you. And I mean, I wonder how many of you are right now around people that kind of make you feel the same way, right? And it's not to say that you need to get rid of them, but it's definitely asking you to do something. What is it asking you to do? Or do you need to create more boundaries around you? Do you need to almost like work with the energy in a different way? Or do you need to send that garbage back? What do you need to do? Do you need to do more cleansing? Where do we need to use our own discernment, our solar plexus, for us to really know, okay, what is true for us and what is it that I'm actually inviting in, and what is something that is no longer really working for me? And as we move closer to the full moon, is going to become so obvious. I mean, it's kind of like when you have like a flashlight and you just light it right up. I would love to do a reading for you, Danielle. Let's take a look at what's coming up collectively for the next week for you guys. So, one is this invitation into boundaries, and the other is the Page of Cups. And I mean, that looks so good. It looks so good, right? I don't know why. I feel like definitely for this full moon, as we're moving into it for next week, it's, oh my goodness. I definitely feel like this is going to be a really highlighting what's working and what's not working within your relationships. I'm not really getting so much within your career. I'm definitely feeling like this is going to be really highlighting some stuff for a lot of you in relationships. It's going to kind of look like saying no or saying yes to help, or saying yes to you first, right? Because it's also going to be highlighting the relationship with yourself first before we're moving on to relationship with other people. Danielle, why don't we just pull a card for you? I'm so curious to see what's coming up for you for this full moon, and what is it that you really need to release? Let's take a look. Fall into my arms, surrender, extremes of life. I feel like, well, I want to add the tarot because that always helps to clarify things. What do we need to know for Danielle? Ooh, okay. I feel like you are coming to this point you're coming to this realization, and it's becoming more and more obvious that there's something that you again, I don't know why this is becoming about a relationship, but it just is. So if it resonates, then that's awesome. If not, then just take it with a grain of salt. I just feel like right now you're going through this change, perhaps this form of personal growth where you are releasing this expectation that it needs to be different. And you're also getting ready to kind of walk away from drama, from any form of drama. So it almost feels like you've kind of come out of heartbreak, or you've come out of a really sticky situation, and you're just sort of like, I'm ready to move on from that. I'm ready for this new chapter, something lighter, something that is actually more in alignment. But in order for that to happen, we need this sense of falling, this sense of surrender, but surrendering in a sense that you're no longer trying to control how things are going. You're no longer trying to control that it needs to be different, but you're also, that you're worth so much more than whatever has been handed to you up to this point. So it's sort of like you're happy to kind of walk away from whatever heartbreak or whatever drama was sort of handed to you up to this point, because you know that there's something more that's waiting for you. And if it's not presented to you just yet, like if you're not clear of what that is, it could be like a job opportunity where you're surrounded by people that accept you more. So it will have to do with relationship, but not necessarily like a romantic relationship. But I feel like this is all about your personal growth. This definitely feels like it's sort of like you're releasing trying to control whatever you were trying to control up to this point. It's sort of like that same idea when you release the control that it needs to be a certain way. So that's kind of what I'm getting. I think that it's going to become a lot more clear as to what you need to release, what you need to really kind of surrender, essentially. And that's going to become a lot more clear as we're moving closer to the full moon. I believe it's on Friday. My recommendation to use this energy to to tune back into your own body and really see what is not in alignment right now, what feels really icky, what feels heavy energetically, what feels heavy, what feels like an obligation, because that will kind of give you some clear indication of what you actually need to release. And it's definitely all about surrendering, but surrendering something that doesn't really work for you, and out of just pure love for yourself. And the Five of Swords energy, to me, that just feels like it's sort of like you're walking towards the sunlight. You're walking towards that lighter energy. Right now, you're going to feel a lot lighter because we're also inviting a lot more light in. So it's kind of like this season is definitely going to be working in your favor for multiple reasons. For because we have more light, because we're eliminating all the things that are both working and that are not working, and then you'll have the opportunity to actually release what is not working. So hopefully that has resonated for you, and that actually sounds pretty good, to be honest. It sounds like you're working with the energy of the moon in the most effective way. I have a feeling that my friend will come on live with us. Let me see if I can pull one more card for you guys for the collective. Oh my goodness, there's cards like literally pulling right out, left, right, and center. In other news, I feel like you guys are also just collectively just sort of sitting here waiting. You know, it's like, ugh, it's sort of like, it's sort of like, are the mandates off yet? Like, do we have to hold our breath a little bit longer? What's going on with you? What's going on with your messages? It's just like there's like that sense of waiting, right? Hey, Miss L, how are you? Thanks for joining us. If you would like me to pull a card for you, please drop your name in the chat so I know who I'm pulling cards for. And thank you so much for joining me and hanging out with me right now. This is so much fun. Yeah, like look what came basically. You're waiting, like, is it done yet? And it's like, well, when can we kind of tap into all of the things? And to be honest, stop waiting, guys. And like it's happening right now. Just stop waiting. It's honestly, you can choose to enjoy the thing right now. You can. And I'm telling you, it if you choose like on a micro level of what brings you joy, on what it kind of starts from within you first. You need to kind of use your discernment so that, you know, it just becomes a little bit lighter. I definitely feel like right now we're moving towards that energetically where things become a lot lighter, but just don't hold your breath in the meanwhile, please, because honestly, then you're just waiting for like this external source to, okay, cool, I can be happy now. You have my permission. You can be happy right now. Okay, Miss Else, let's see what's coming up for you for the full moon. What is happening for you? Okay, let's see. And by the way, if anybody's wondering, I'm using one of my favorite decks of all time. This is the Good Karma Tarot. And we're also using the Star Seed. The Star Seed Oracle, again, another one of my absolute favorites. And if you're just joining me live, hello, hello. If you would like me to pull a card for you on what's coming up for this next week, drop your name in the chat so I know that I can pull a card for you. Okay, else, let's see what's coming up. Oh my gosh, I pulled this twice. Okay, let's get you an oracle card too. But I like it. I like it so far. Okay, this is not going to come as an absolute surprise, but this is where we're at. We're stepping into this boss babe energy. We're stepping into this, I'm getting shit done and I really don't care who knows it, you know? We're stepping into this energy of full-blown confidence, so much self-love poured back into ourselves, so much of that. And then in the meanwhile, your message is essentially use nature all around you, use everything around you, all the elements, use your crystals, use walks, use all the things because they will help you recalibrate your energy. But I mean, this is what's lying underneath it all. This is sort of what's coming to, this energy is what's kind of coming to be illuminated. That's always there, by the way. So like this aspect of yourself is always there, but it's just sometimes, again, it's like that whole idea of why we started with grounding, why we started with dropping in, and why we started with the solar plexus is so that you know energetically how to tune back into this, because this resides in all of us, really. But for you specifically, this whole idea of getting clarity on what you want, who do you want to have that with, like what it is that you actually want, how do you want to feel, right? What is it that you want to create? Do you want to create a business? Do you want to create abundance? Do you want to simply just deciding like you want to be happy, right? It could be any of those things or all of those things. Use this illumination energy, use the extra sunlight to be out in nature, because when you're outside, when you're connecting with the elements, it's like all of these answers can come. Sometimes for some of us, it comes from stillness or it comes from quiet. For you specifically, it comes from nature. So the more you can spend time in connecting with nature, with elements in nature, the more clarity can come through, because nature kind of, it has an interesting way, like it just communicates with each of us differently. So just knowing your own element of what connects you, sometimes it's air, sometimes it's literally just going for a run. You're probably not going to go for a run in the middle of winter, but you get my drift. But as the weather becomes a lot nicer, then just being out in nature is going to be the thing that will help you kind of get clear and get clarity on what is it, what does this emperor energy really feel like for you? How will that show up in your life? And create space so it can actually show up, because you have this within you, but the only way that you can kind of bring it into life is if you not only create space for it, but you create energetic space for it so that you're receptive to be able to hear it and to feel it. So that's my message for you, which is ain't bad. Again, I feel like you guys are getting good messages right now. It doesn't feel heavy. Like it's almost like the more light coming through, the more we're actually getting clear on what's happening. Again, if you guys are just joining me right now, thank you so much for hanging out with me. And we're just pulling cards today. So if you want me to pull a card for you, drop your name in the chat and I would love to grab a card for you. But even the one that I pulled for the collective, that has been relatively accurate. Isn't that funny? Okay. I forgot to pull an oracle card earlier for the collective. So, oh boy, we have cracked open. I mean, how many of us are really hitting that rock bottom? How many of us are really feeling like, Jesus, like, will this get any better? It's almost like that sense of hopelessness, but also it's so interesting because so many of us are hitting that sense of like, good God, like, will this get any better at any point in the foreseeable future? And the thing is that it's like, oh, what came through today has been so extremely clear. Like what came through in my own meditation, and I think that is partially you guys need to hear this too. It's so simple. You like if you want anything, if you want to manifest anything, like the key to all of that, whether if we're looking at building a business, whether you want to have this loving and grounded relationship, or you want to have this beautiful community around you where you're seen and you're loved and you're accepted and all of those things, it always kind of comes back to this one very thing, and it starts with surrender. But it starts with surrender because when you surrender, then that just tells the universe that I don't know it all. Like I'm kind of an idiot. Like I don't know anything. I know a little bit of something about something, but other than that, I don't really know. But all I know is that I'm just happy if I can see that next right step in front of me, and then I'm good. The moment that we try to kind of, no, I need to see the whole picture. I need to see the full business plan, the full master plan. The moment that you get into that mindset, when you not only feel like you know it all, but then you also want to kind of feel like overconfident that like you actually have all the answers, that's when you start closing doors. You're not opening them. So, I mean, really, like this whole idea of being cracked open, this whole idea of most people hitting like that energetic rock bottom when it's just like, okay. And I mean, like the closest thing that I can relate this to energetically right now is literally what's happening right now globally. Of, I don't know, like, I guess we can use, what's happening with masks. You can use any element of the pandemic, you can use any global event, really. But it's sort of like, if you take off the mask, what will I do? I don't know. Like, what were you doing up to this point? Like, did you feel any better? I don't know. Like, at some point, you have to surrender that you have like no idea what's going to happen, but we will figure it out. We will figure out the next right step. It's same with when you're building a business. It's the same idea. You need to surrender in order for you to take the action, that just that one step, and see what happens and see if it becomes a little bit more clear, because through action you will get a lot more feedback than through contemplating it and being in your head and being like, maybe it's this way, maybe it's that. Well, you will never know until you take steps towards it, right? That's all I have. And hopefully it has resonated. It has been interesting. I'm thinking that we will make this like a weekly get together. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I really like the Sunday chats where we just kind of get together, practice a little bit, recalibrate our energy in the most beautiful way, and really kind of move towards really figuring out how we can take aligned action, you know? because that's one of the biggest things is sometimes you can just go through your weeks mindlessly and not really know if you're actually making progress or not, or if you're in alignment or not. So when you kind of recalibrate on a Sunday, I think it's such a perfect time to do that. So I'm going to leave just reminders on this channel now that you guys have found it. And if you liked it, you can give it a thumbs up. You can also, I'm going to see if it opens up the chat prior to the actual broadcast, because if it does, then you can drop your name and we can pull some cards so that I know who actually wants to pull a card. So this is all I have for you guys. Thanks for like joining and for playing along and hanging out with me today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the sound, the meditation, the messages, all of the fun stuff. And I can see you guys next week. Bye.